Welcome into the broadcast. I'm Dean Wilson alongside Carly Ford and Clark Sprinkle. The sport is women's lacrosse. The teams are Rollins and Tampa. Clark, these teams faced off at the beginning of the season with Rollins coming out on top in that one. And now we're here at the end of the season. How do you expect this one to go down?
Well, expect a huge game here. These teams are going to be battling it out for the regular season Sunshine State Conference title as well as the postseason here, hopefully.
Now, one thing that we talked about, Carly, before the broadcast was the battle inside the cage. These two goalies are eccentric. They're both of them are some of the best in the entire conference. Who do you expect comes out on top in the best of this matchup?
Well, Dean, even though Bridget Sutter from Tampa is leading the SSC in saves per game, based off the pregame warm-ups, I'm going with Rollins' very own Gabby Tanner. During those warm-ups, she was going so hard with doing ladder work, sprints, really staying on her toes to make sure that transcends into her game inside the crease.
Now, both of these teams come in ranked tied at number 5 in the entire nation. Tampa leads the conference right now. And they both played really well throughout the entire season and have done a lot to really showcase their talents, their players, but also just overall gameplay. They really do it very well on both sides of the field.
Yeah, I would say Tampa's 2-1 in the Sunshine State Conference. Officially, they're 2-0. That game that they dropped to Rollins earlier in the season, a technically non-conference matchup. Not really sure how that works, but it is. And as you mentioned, both tied 507 to 507, both tied for 5th in the nation right now.
And again, we talked about those goalies. Gabby Tanner, she's just done a wonderful job inside the cage. She's 7th in the nation and 3rd in the conference in goals against average, and she just doesn't really let a lot of things by her. And especially in a game, women's lacrosse, very finesse, not as physical as the men's game. So a lot of points can get scored, but she does a lot stopping things from going by her, for sure.
She does, and she's a big-time team player. In those warm-ups that I mentioned earlier, her team was warming up, running down the field, and she was there pumping them up, getting them ready to go.
Yeah, a lot of that's due to the great defensive play, great defensive players out there for the Tars tonight. Beck, Stavisky, Prince, and Ottaway. A lot of that reduction in goals against is due to your defense not letting those shots come on you in the first place.
And you can tell it's very loud. We're right behind both of these teams and being extremely vocal. And that draw control goes in favor of the Tars, so we'll see them set up their first attacking possession.
Yeah, looks like Tampa left a little early on the draw circle.
And both these teams have fairly large rosters and have no problem using the box to their advantage. Rollins trying to work that ball on the left side. Long sticks on those defenders, going to try and stop any of those Rollins shots from going by before it gets to their last line of defense. Ball's behind the net now, 65 seconds on the shot clock. Moving the ball very well. Tampa actually is one of the top teams in the conference in assists, but right now we see Rollins doing a great job using ball movement, and Tampa shuts down that first initial push.
Yeah, Tars really just taking their time, feeling out the defense from Tampa here in the early going.
Nice little move there. She goes low, but that one is saved, so a great job there. And it will be there will be a new possession, new shot clock for the Tars.
Yeah, shot on goal. That'll reset. You see Callie German up there slowing things down. Great awareness there by Hannah Ashton. Her defender lost her footing. She took that opportunity, went straight to the cage, but a nice big save there from Sutter.
Sutter had 104 saves before this game. Make that 105 now.
Great job there. Next attack coming on the left side.
Yeah, slow whistle call there on Tampa. That's going to put Callie German there on the 8-meter. Tars 38% on free positions coming into this one. Looking to capitalize on this. That'll be a big opportunity for the Tars. You have to convert these free positions.
And we'll see if they do so here for the first goal of the game. Decides to take it, goes low, and the bouncing shot goes in. So a great job there by Callie German. And all season she's been the main player on this team that has gotten a lot of the goals, gotten most of the points, and there she does it again.
Yeah, really a strong player is Callie German. She has been dominant from the get-go. She's got the height, she's got the speed. You watch her run up the field sometimes, and she just runs away from people. Just an absolutely incredible athlete.
So she adds to that goal total that she's been racked up over her career.
And she's ranked 4th in the SSC for a reason for goals per game. We just saw that goal that early on in the game.
She's one of the most dynamic players in the Sunshine State Conference and in the country. She gets it done every which way. And she has no problem assisting either. She knows teams are going to play her close, and they're going to be tight on her, so not allowing her to get a lot going early on most of the time. And somehow she always finds a way. And if not, she's dishing it out to her teammates.
I could keep listing all the areas she's ranked in the SSC, but like you said, goals per game, assists per game, overall strong offensive player for the Tars.
Another draw control win.
Yeah, nice move there by Van Beck. She anticipated that. She got that step out in front of her defender and just used body positioning to get in the right spot to make a nice, easy catch there.
And now we'll see Rollins again set up their next attacking possession. So first 2 draw controls go their way, and they're up 1-0 already. Let's see if they can turn it into 2 here. University of Tampa does have a pretty good defense, along with Sutter in the net. It's going to be hard to get it past that back line, though. And Rollins are going to have to work for every single point. 52 seconds left on the shot clock. Working that left side. Ball's now in German's hands. German then dishes it out. Nice little inside move. Goes low, but a great job by Sutter.
Yeah, that's a hard save to make right there. That long bouncer, but she got down, got back up high, made a very nice save. Great quick hands there by Sutter.
And we'll see Sutter clear it out after the great defensive save, and now UT Tampa will have their first shot in an attacking possession. Ball forced out, but it will go in favor of the Spartans.
Yeah, official called a push there. A little bit of a legal check there on the Tars.
And now we see Tampa trying to set up their attack right now, and the Rollins will have their first crack at defense. Tanner inside the cage for them. We mentioned all her accolades at the top of the broadcast. Well, not all of them. She's got quite a few more that we haven't mentioned yet. Ball's behind the net now. 40 seconds left on that shot clock. Shot clock has really sped up the tempo this season for both the men's and women's game. And we've seen a lot, I wouldn't say a lot more scoring, but more chances taken at the net this season than any other season before. 22 seconds left. Inside move, great defense there. Ball's on the ground.
Yeah, Tars, okay to play a woman-to-woman defense here, leaving that middle of the field open and just, takes a lot of faith in your team to say we're going to leave that lane open to the goal. You're going to have to play some good defense here.
This is Risk, who's going cage to cage almost. After that great defensive play, she takes it all the way down, and now Rollins has the ball yet again. German's going to wait for her offense to set up.
Tell you what, you can always find Lily Risk on the field. She's always wearing that pink headband out there.
As soon as she saw that ball on the ground, her feet speed. I mean, she went after it. Like you said, she was down field for anybody else wasn't even close to her.
Yeah, it was almost a scoop and score. But great defense overall from Risk, and now she's going to actually take a break while she'll let the rest of her teammates try and get another goal.
And that's the right move in that situation. Get it down on the offensive end, hand it off to the offensive specialist, run the offense you want to run, and set the tone of this game early.
German now. Talk about that speed. She tries to go around the right side. Inside pass, though, and that one's blocked by Sutter again. So the pass inside to Hannah Ashton from German was saved nicely, but it will be Rollins' possession again. Overshot pass, and now it ends up in the stick of a Tampa player, but foul called there, and so they'll end up with the ball.
Yeah, huge save there by Sutter. That should not have been a save. That should have been a goal all day. Just a really impressive save there.
And good pressing defense here. Some double teams coming from Rollins, not letting that ball easily get down the field, making them work for every single inch. Nice move behind the net. That one's going to go over the left side of Tanner. So a great response from UT Tampa, and now the score is tied 1-1.
Yeah, nice move around the cage as you had McVicker there kind of getting, check that. You had the Tars D there getting a little just kind of crossed up back behind, and just got a little bit behind. Tampa saw that as an opportunity, went to the cage to score.
Now the Tars do lead the conference in turnovers. They're a very aggressive team. They score a lot. They take a lot of shots on goal. But when you're trying to be aggressive, it can lead to balls on the ground and the ball going into your opposing team's stick. And so we'll see another draw control coming here. Doherty has taken the first two for Rollins. 1-1, lost one.
When it comes to draw controls between these two teams, Rollins is pretty dominant. They've had 23 compared to Tampa's 13. So they're averaging 10 more than them.
Great job there for Hannah Coakley fighting through that one. You see Tampa kind of got numbers on that draw control. It was 2-on-1, but fighting for that ground ball. Hannah Coakley got in there, mixed it up, fought for the ground ball, and Tars come away with it.
And that's Brock, who's going to hand it off to Ashton. And ball will end up in German's hands. 60 seconds on the shot clock. Ball movement key in the Rollins early attacks here. They seem to be trying to look for the best possible angle at the net and try and get the best possible shot, working around that right side. That pass is errant. Does end up in the stick of Ashton. Great slap away there, but ball.
Yeah, across the body there, official says, and that'll reset everything. Want to slow things down. They've got to send someone behind. The official should not have started that right there. You got to be kidding me. You can't start a play like that with two players there when there was a foul on the other team. Official should not have started play right there. You got to move somebody behind. That's why there was a foul.
15 seconds on the clock. German's going to push the middle. Tries to go inside, and that one ends up in the back of the net. So a great job there. Somehow that ends up in the stick of number 8. That is Maddie McVicker. And that play, although kind of a scramble, ends up in a point for Rollins.
There was some confusion there close to that goal. There's a lot of Tampa players, a couple Rollins players. I don't think the goalie was quite sure who had the ball, and that's how Rollins was able to sneak it in there.
And it looked like the initial pass inside was going to go to Ashton from German, but it ended up in McVicker's stick. I really couldn't see what exactly happened at the end of that one, but either way, Rollins goes up 2-1, and we will see the draw control for Rollins change, as now it's Taylor Keenley in to try and get yet another possession for the Tars. They've led the possession count early in this one. We are playing halves in the women's game as well, no quarters, so just over 7 minutes already played in this first half.
Now, Clark, both these girls started the same way in their stances. Can you explain to me a little bit why they were both that way?
Yeah, because you've got a lefty and a righty out there. Normally you would have a righty and a righty. They'd be on, be kind of a mirror image type situation. If you've got a lefty and a righty, they can switch it up. Doesn't matter. You can run it either way you want.
All right, thank you for that.
Rollins now with the possession. If you guys are just joining us on the Rollins Tars Sports Network, we are in beautiful Winter Park, Florida, where the Tars in the white jerseys with the blue numbers are hosting the University of Tampa in the black jerseys with the red numbers. And so far, with just about 8 minutes played, it is 2-1 in favor of the home team. Rollins again with the ball, and they've capitalized on 2 possessions so far. We'll see if they can make it a third. Tampa's played some aggressive defense as they seem to be checking up Germain. That's an inside pass to Ashton, but that shot goes wide right. And so 30 seconds on the shot clock will give the Tars maybe one last shot at it. Germain with a nice pass there. Ball working on the left side. Aaron's pass tries to get it to McVicker, who just scored the goal moments ago, but that ball does not end up in her stick, and it will be a turnover.
Now, Dean, something I want to give credit to these girls is how much running and how fast they do. I was a volleyball player, so I did not have to run anything like these girls do.
Great job there by Lindsey Van Beck, jumping that pass, and then she turns on the jets to take it the other way there.
See if I do a little fast break opportunity. Look at the speed of Germain on that left side. But she decides to slow the pace down and let her offense set up. If you guys are trying to keep track of today's stats and follow the play-by-play action by visiting the tarsstats.com. Whether you follow on your computer, tablet, phone, or other mobile device, tarsstats.com lets you view up-to-the-minute statistical information as it happens on the field. Just visit tarsstats.com to find today's game in the list of live events, and you're ready to view the latest in-game live stats for Rollins Tars. Germain with 50 seconds. Going to put it behind the net. And very slow play from the Tars. They lead the conference in shots on goal, but this, I don't know if it's the UT Tampa defense or they're just trying to make sure they get good looks, but it seems to be they're not taking as many shots as you normally would see from them.
Yeah, really excellent defense by U Tampa here in the early going on this one. Also doing an excellent job of staying out of shooting space as well.
And foul called there. See who it is on. And it looks like it's going to be an 8-meter.
And Carla, you mentioned the speed and just the athleticism a moment ago. Reminds me of the old adage, how do you spell lacrosse? R-U-N. I mean, it is up and down the field all game long.
Like I said, I give credit to these girls because I don't think I could be doing what they are.
Great job there by U Tampa to shut that great opportunity down back behind the cage.
And a great pass there inside to Rachel Belocci. And she goes low. And so Sutter lets up her third goal of the game, and the Rollins lead 3-1.
Yeah, you see Velucki there. She changed the plane of her shot. She caught it high, dropped it down off of her hip, and took it from high to, well, not quite low like you would see in the men's game, that underhand rip, but that sidearm rip just gets the goalie moving that much, makes all the difference in the world. You got to change the plane of the shot, and a great job there by Velucki doing so.
As we mentioned the last time these teams met up at the beginning of the season in a non-conference matchup. Still iffy on how that happens, I guess. But it was the Tars who took the match in that one, and it was really, they did a great job scoring the ball, honestly. They put up, I think it was over 20 points, 21 points.
21-16
yeah.
in the non-conference game.
And it looks like early on they're having no trouble scoring at all in this one either. So we'll see if this one ends up in similar fashion. But right now the Tars seem to be on fire every time they're in Tampa territory. Draw control goes in favor of the Tars again, and so this is what's leading to the possessions for the Tars. If you're not letting Tampa get the ball at all, there's no chance for them to answer. There's no chance for them to come back, and you're winning draw controls, and that's how you win games.
Tell you what, Takei there listed at 5'4" on the roster. She's got some ups. I think Glenn Wilkes is calling her, looking for somebody to take the jump for the basketball team next season.
It's funny you mentioned Coach Wilkes. Before the game, I saw him riding around on a scooter around campus.
Sounds about right. Sounds about right. Two long-term coaches there at Rollins at basketball, in Coach Wilkes and Coach Klusman.
Inside pass, and that one goes again. So Rollins scoring often and scoring early in this game so far.
Yeah, they're doing an excellent job here of kind of working either low to high or high to low. They're not just trying to have this game where they're trying to drive from the top of the 8 or the 12-meter, trying to take on a defender one-on-one, doing an excellent job of moving the ball and making that inside pass.
And I think the difference so far in this game is where the ball has been on the field. It stayed on the right side in Tampa's defensive area. A majority of this game, I think it's only come into Rollins' defensive territory once so far.
Yeah, sure. It's the winning of the draw controls for Rollins. They're not letting them have easy possessions when they do get the ball, and they're winning draw controls. So that's the formula for a winning team, honestly. If you can win at the midline and keep the ball in your possession for the majority of the game, that's a winning formula that you just can't beat, no matter how good your attackers are, no matter how good even your goalie is at this point, because there's only so many shots she can save, and how close she's saving them. So,
yeah, I think the Tars said make it, take it after that first one. It's 5-0 on draw controls to start this one off.
Great job there. This one picked up by Risk.
think you had a couple Tampa players get their feet tangled up there. That's why we didn't see a call.
And so we'll see risk as wind starts to kick up here.
But a really great sportsmanship from Rollins player. Claire Swanson, stick dropped, and I saw a Rollins player, run up, pick it up, hand it to her.
Sportsmanship triumphs. That's what my dad always used to tell me.
It does. You have to have a good attitude in games because attitude affects your mental game, and your mental game affects the whole team's mental game.
Nice move by Germain.
Shooting space violation. What an ankle breaker on that move. Went to her left, did a great job on the split dodge there, and then just went back hard to her right, and then got the shooting space call. Here's that second free position for her.
She gives it up there.
I don't know what the call was from the official there.
Can't hear the call from the referee, but either way, it ends up in a UT possession.
Dennis Short doesn't know what in the world that call was. I don't know either. I thought we had a shooting space violation. I saw the signal for shooting space, and then they decided, no, it's not shooting space. So
it's a Spartan possession. That's the only thing I think we do know right now. So,
and I will tell you, this is one of the most frustrating things. I coached this game for years. I've been calling games for years. Certainly know the signals. You can never see the signals. They never really give a good explanation. It's not like the men's game where they come over and they say it was a slash, it was a trip, it was a push, it was a cross-check. It's always the same kind of motion by the official, and then we'll have that happen. So not really sure what happened. It's something that's always happened in this game, though, where you never quite know what the call is.
McNeil tries to spin inside, but that one doesn't work for her. Long clear from the goalie. That's a nice little pickup there by Caitlin Young. So she bails the goalie Gabby Tanner out of a bad clear and starts the next possession for Rollins. And yeah, it's hard with the officials when you don't exactly see, or you can't see exactly what the call is, and then they're running down the field to start, the next attack or the next offense, whatever. The referees are running down, so they do the signal and they're out of there. They're bailing out. So it's hard to know exactly what the call was, and that one is as big of a head scratch as you're going to get in this league.
Gabby Tanner coming out again big. And made a good pass that time, made the nice, smart pass that time. That first pass on that attempt to clear there, she got completely bailed out there by Young on the ground ball. But, you want to be able to settle down just a little bit, make a good pass. You do all that work on defense, you want to clear it successfully.
And Vaccaro takes a hard hit and goes down. And so Tampa will be in position, rotate their players on, and try and set up one of the few attacking possessions they've had so far. Rollins seems to be playing pretty physical on defense, I'd say, as physical as you can in the women's game.
I tell you what, it is a contact sport. You hear about, basketball as a contact sport. This is more so than basketball or anything. It's not football. You're not tackling people, but you get beat up. You see your players out there, they come out with black and blue arms from just getting beat up with people's fists and sticks and everything. This is a physical, hard-nosed sport here.
40 seconds on the shot clock for the Spartans. Ball's on that right side. Rollins not giving them any looks. Risk right now playing solid woman-to-woman defense. And we've called her name a couple of times for the great defense she's played already in this one, and she continues it there. Nice move, but McNeil's not letting her get by at all. Excuse me, that's Van Beck.
Yeah, great footwork by Van Beck right there. Excellent footwork. You play defense with your feet, and she's doing an excellent job of it right there.
8 seconds on the shot clock. Tampa scrambling, trying to find an open shot. 5 seconds. Great defense inside. That one ends up, it actually hit off her stick inside. So goal ends up, a goal for UT Tampa. And this is the last second on the shot clock. I think she threw it over, hit off her stick right in front of the goalie, and went right over Gabby Tanner's head.
Yeah, just kind of bounced off of Tampa player's stick there. Kind of a scrum there. Didn't really see who that was. Vaccaro there. And just kind of bounced in. It's one of those things. If the ball is ever not in somebody's possession and it's 100% of the ball has to be back past 100% of the goal line, it's a goal. So if the goalie has the ball in their stick, and it's past the goal line, in the goal, not a goal. Somebody still has possession, but if there's no possession, it's a goal, and it just kind of bounced in, trickled in, it counts.
Clark, you mentioned that this game is kind of like basketball with the physicality. Another basketball aspect I just picked up from Tampa's offense. It seemed like they had some like pick and roll type setups going on.
Absolutely. Everybody always wants to compare the game to the game of hockey. I guess they think, oh, well, you can go behind the goal. They can do that in hockey. It's just like hockey, right? It's nothing like hockey. It's just like basketball. The way you score, the way your defense works, the way your offense works, pick and rolls, assist, everything. It is played just like basketball.
And we see another draw control win for the Tars. So still holding steady in that category and being ever so dominant as they have throughout this entire first half, as we just passed the midway mark in this first half. A little over 14 minutes left to go. And Rollins leading 4-2 on the stick of players like Germain. Inside pass, that one ends up in a turnover though. Great check from behind. And
yeah, Paige Brock a little upset with that pass that she made, but made up for it by getting the turnover there. Excellent back check there by Brock.
So great job there, and a new shot clock for Rollins. They don't let that ball cross midfield. And this is Gastonguay working her way inside. Goes low, but a great save by Sutter. Ball picked up and over the net. Sutter making an aggressive play to try and get it. She gets checked.
Yeah, I think she stepped out of bounds back there. That was a pass, so not a shot. She stepped out of bounds. Tars ball.
Inside pass there, and the shot from number 27, Hannah Ashton, gives the Tars their 5th goal of the night. Those inside passes seem to be working very well for Rollins early on. Play behind the net, play from the side, work your way in, but they don't seem to be playing a lot of solo ball, using a lot of the assists and making sure that they get those inside nice looks. It's led to a couple of turnovers, but otherwise it's had them up 5-2.
Well, Dean, they're really loading up their offensive players tight. So I think what's going on is Sutter's not being able to see clearly who has the ball when, and it's when they disperse is when that clear action goes in.
Yeah, really an excellent job there by the Tars making that cut. Hash did a great job there. As soon as she saw that ponytail of her defender, she made that move. That is Lacrosse 101 right there. When you're a defender, when you see their ponytail, you're cutting backside on them every single time. She did. Defender was a step behind her and got a great pass and catch. And one thing she did there that was excellent, she caught it and shot it right away. You want that element of surprise. You want that shot coming out of your stick quick. She got it settled, little half cradle. Great shot on goal there by Hash.
Another basketball-like play, catch and shoot.
Yeah, catch and shoot. Don't take time. You don't want to let somebody else get on you.
Don't want your defender to get room and space on you.
No, yeah, you got your hands free a little bit. Get rid of the ball, put it on goal, see what happens.
Not to mention at that close to the net, you really don't have that much time to shoot anyway. If it's an inside pass like that, you don't really have too many steps to take before you're either causing a crease violation or the defense is closing around you and you couldn't move your stick if you wanted to.
First draw control of the game, almost 2/3 of the way through this first half of action going to Tampa.
So Tampa, who just scored moments ago, late in that shot clock. We'll see if they try and make a push here earlier in this one. Otherwise, Rollins' defense has done a great job of shutting down the majority of their looks. That woman-to-woman defense seems to be working out very well for them early in this one. 45 seconds left here. McNeil tries to make a move inside. Spin move. Great defense there from number 9, Haley Brock. Ball on that left side now. Working middle. Spin move. Again, not working. Great defense here, but there is a foul called against the Tars, and so 25 seconds left for UT to finish off this possession. Inside pass to McNeil. Tough defense again from Brock. 15 seconds. Inside pass. That one goes, and it gets past Gabby Tanner for the 3rd goal of the Spartans tonight.
Yeah, Spartans electing there to kind of spread the offense out a little bit, get the Tars a little bit out towards the sidelines a little bit more, and really trying to wear the Tars down there. It's so hard to play defense for 90 seconds straight, and they took that shot with after having the ball on offense for 80 seconds or thereabouts.
So we'll see another draw control coming from Maggie Daugherty.
This is an opportunity right here for Tampa. They've let in 4 straight goals, I think, and opportunity for them after scoring that one to set the tone of the game, take momentum away from the Tars and get it back on their side. Got to win the draw control, though.
It seems like every time Tampa scored a goal, Rollins has answered. Hard hit there. Daugherty ends up on the ground, but she does win the draw control for the Tars and does her job and gets off. Wrist going to go inside, goes low, and a great job there by Sutter.
Yeah, that was Forbes and Doc coming together there.
Dangerous clear. Jermain's going to knock the ball onto the ground, but again knocks the ball on the ground. So great back checks from Jermain. She's playing great defense. This one scooped up. Scrum in the middle of the field, and it will end up into the stick of Daugherty, who started this entire sequence.
Yeah, that was a great heads-up move there by Veluki, having that head on the swivel. She saw that ball hit the deck, and in a split second turned around and got her stick on it.
Stump with the ball now, letting the rest of her offensive squad get settled. Full 70 seconds to work this attacking possession in, although Rollins just seems to be letting the game flow to them early on. They haven't really tried to use the entire time. If something's there, they take it. That inside pass is unfortunately missed, and it will end up in the stick of a UT player. Jermain's going to try and play some more defense down, and she gets another back check. So Jermain, known for her scoring, has just played an immaculate defense these last 2 possessions.
Sometimes the offense plays the best defense, and she did a great job right there. We should see a yellow card come out here on that trip. That was a hard foul there. Tars are going to go 1 woman up.
And there is. So this is Maggie Gladden. Excuse me, that is Kristen Staley. 33-38 kind of look alike from far away. So Kristen Staley will be out for a cross check. So Rollins is number 1 in the conference in woman up goals, which is something that you would think is, that's something you should be comfortable with. You're number 1 in the conference. You're getting a lot of your woman up goals, except UT Tampa is number 1 in woman down goals in the conference. So a little bit of a paradox from these 2 teams, and you can never be too aggressive if you're Tars, even if you have a man advantage.
Yeah, there's nothing that hurts more than getting scored on when you've got an extra player out there.
I think when Tampa is man down, they go to like a zone type offense defense instead of that woman to woman. So they know where to play their areas to make sure that Rollins doesn't get in.
So
check to the head there called against Paige Brock, and that's the right call there. Not a hard check, not a not a malicious check at all. The rule book is very clear. If your stick strikes another opponent, strikes the opponent in the head at all, for whatever reason, you're responsible for your stick. If that happens, it's a mandatory yellow card. It's a mandatory yellow card, and we have this game now in the high school level where everybody's wearing helmets here in the state, and you see it in the college game with people wearing helmets. I say it's because that call has not been used enough, so I have to say I like that call from the officials. Got to keep everybody away from the head of your opponents.
Well, for both teams, it's basically even out there, so we'll see which team plays better with each team having a man down, obviously. Aaron pass there.
Yeah, really an unforced error there. Tars want to run that clock down. They're playing 4-on-4 lacrosse. They're going to be, 1 woman down here. At the end of that, they needed to hold that, just kill as much of that penalty as possible. Unfortunately, an unforced error just gives it up.
Inside pass goes high over Gabby Tanner's stick, and so UT has got new life, and they are 1 goal away from tying this one up.
First time these 2 teams met, Tampa only scored 3 goals in the first half. So they've already got 1 more than that.
Paige Brock will head back out, or have another player at least head back out, as Tars will be one woman up still.
So the goal gives them one woman up.
Yeah, we'll release that penalty, just as in hockey, men's lacrosse, same way. If it's a red card, you'll serve full time, kind of thing, or it'll be locked in. But on
it
something
doesn't
like that,
it doesn't reset for the other team.
No,
if they have that situation.
No, so if you score and you're down like Tampa right there, it does not release that penalty. You're still one woman down. Tars get scored on, it'll release that penalty.
Gastingue will check in for Stump. And the Tars with just under 10 minutes left in this one have been scored on the last 2 possessions from UT. And we'll see if Daugherty can win another draw control. That does not seem to be a facet of their game that they are lacking in at all in this one.
No, 8-1 so far. They're going to redraw, say it didn't go high enough, I guess.
So similar to basketball, they're trying to tip that ball up and then see who can jump higher for it. And
that ball's got to basically go in an upward motion. It can't kind of squirt out to the side or squirt out down low. It's got to come up high and, yeah, look like a basketball jump.
And that one, just a second draw control win, but an important win for Tampa. And the race down. Nice save by Gabby Tanner.
Tell you what, she needed that one. She needed a big save there, as that's her first save of the game. Needed that to get her frame of mind right.
Exactly. I've seen after the couple goals that Tampa's made, she just slammed her stick down, a little upset with herself. It's probably a big confidence booster right there.
Yeah, you're going to get scored on in this game. Everything is set up to increase offense in the women's game, and you're going to get scored on. So you just got to get over it. You got to make that next save. And that was a huge save right there.
5, 4, 3, 2,
and we will see that woman out become a woman in Staley. So full squads for both teams right now. Just over 40 seconds on the shot clock for Rollins to try and answer. They still lead by 1. Jermaine inside pass, and that one goes low. So a great inside pass from Jermaine to Hannah Coakley, and it ends up in another goal for the Tars.
Yeah, Coke doing an excellent job there, shooting across her body, moving away from the goal. 9 times out of 10, you're going to take that shot. It's going to end up stick side there on Sutter. She put it off stick hip and got a great goal. It's so hard, especially for a goalie, to be moving to your right and then come back to your left to make that save. An excellent job there by Coke, really taking that extra second, that extra beat, getting her feet where she wanted them, getting their stick where she wanted it to put the ball in the back of the net. So many times you see that shot taken and they hit the goalie. She took the time to find the back of the net right there.
And Tara's offense is doing phenomenal with shooting that ball down low. It seems like Sutter's having a little hard time getting those back.
Hardest save to make, off stick low, and I don't know why every shot doesn't go there. I guess shooting high looks cooler or something. I don't know. In the men's games, it drives me insane how many times you see an attackman hit the goalie in the stick.
Well, think about in basketball, when they get a freeway, they go for the dunk, miss it. They could have easily made the layup, but they go for the more impressive look.
I think that it's the look of the ball going into the back of the net that looks really cool in lacrosse, and so when it goes low down, it doesn't make the net move as much. I think that's the flashy
covered
aspect.
Up by feet as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Harder to see.
Harder to see on the camera and at the broadcast. You want your parents to be able to see your goals.
Like, hey, Mom, watch this.
Yeah, I guess it, hits the back of the net, hits that upper corner, makes that pop sound and all that. Everybody gets all excited. Guess what? It still counts for 1 point. Still counts for 1 point.
Flashy is not always best.
No, it's not.
Coakley on that score, she's a junior. I think, you talked about the idea of pausing, and a few moments ago we talked about the value of catching and shooting. So obviously there's a time, there's time and place to do both. And as a junior, I think that's a veteran move, like you just said. Maybe a year or 2 years ago, she would have just caught and, catch it, shoot it. Instead, she decides to make the veteran move, take an extra step, widen that angle, make the net look a little bit bigger, more area for the goalie to cover and puts it in. So 40 seconds left for Tampa to try and respond. and go back to just being down by 1. Inside move, nice little spin move there, but the ball does get knocked away, so great defense.
Great slide there by Van Beck. She was ready to move on that one and just made a great slide.
And whistle does get blown by the referee. We'll see what the call is.
Say it was a foul on Tampa, and that'll give Tars the ball there.
Tanner looking for a safe clear as each of the close players are being guarded very closely.
Yeah, she's got as much time as she wants there, and needs to take it too. Does a good job there, making a nice, easy pass.
Tanner, Germain showing her speed. This one ends up on the ground. So Tampa now has the ball again.
Yeah, Tars just trying a little bit of a gutsy pass there in the middle, and couldn't quite connect it there.
Working that left side. This is Van Beck again. We've called her name a couple of times. She's a great defenseman for the Tars. She talks about her, footwork and positioning. She had a couple of great back checks, knocked the ball away there on the last possession. So she's definitely been doing all she can on the defensive end.
It is, and it's that senior mentality. After a couple years of playing at this level, you know what your opponents are going to do.
Great little check there, and it seems like the Tars have kind of switched from that woman-to-woman defense a little bit, flowing a little bit more. Maybe I lied. No, I did lie. Yeah, still in that woman-to-woman defense. Inside, and a great save there by Tanner, but the shot clock does reset, so Tampa will get another crack at it.
Yeah, Tampa doing an excellent job there of spreading the field there and really trying to wear down the Tars D.
Swanson now tries to work inside. She goes for an inside pass. Hard check. Tanner again will get a hit off her stick, and the shot clock will reset, but it will go into the possession of the Tars. So a great 2 saves there by Gabby Tanner to keep the Spartans out of the cage.
Not only that, but a great heads-up play there by Stavisky. She backed that up. You should back up 0 shots when you're on defense like that. But Stavisky did an excellent job backing that up, and I think she should get an assist on that goal right there.
So a great job by Gastonguay racing down, catches the inside pass, and although you may not like it, Clark, but she went high on that one and puts it into the net.
Tell you what, maybe Tanner should get an assist there too. That's a huge save. She made that one save. It just kind of sparked her, and that's what you need is to go, hey, look, I played goalie. We're all head cases, okay? We're all weird. All right, you got to be weird to play goalie, and you get inside your head sometimes. You're your worst critic. She's over it. Now she's fired up. She's ready to go, and when you're on, you are on.
Dean, you asked me at the beginning of the broadcast which goalie did I have with the dominant performance tonight. I picked Tanner, and we've seen she's had the dominant save so far.
You feeling pretty confident about that pick still?
I am. I'm feeling like an expert tonight.
Yeah, the 3 saves that she's had so far have been like these point-blank saves that she shouldn't have made, quite frankly, and she's just come up huge. Let in 4 early, and then just flip that switch.
And it has led to her team being up by 3, so Rollins leads 7-4 with just under 5 minutes left to play in this first half. Rollins has been pretty dominant throughout it. And scrum here for the draw control. We'll see who it goes to. Ball still on the ground, and it goes in favor of the Spartans. No, ref changes his call. It goes in favor of the Tars.
Yeah, he actually said, foul was on black, white ball, and then pointed in the direction as if it was a Tampa ball. So just a little issue. We're all human.
Yeah, I think he was trying to point to their side, like, hey, it's theirs. Give it to them, but maybe not.
Don't give the refs too much credit.
The call that we can see very clearly is the one that's not correct. Like you said, we're all human.
Germain trying to work it inside.
And some referees are more human than others, I would say.
As a volleyball coach, I have to ref.
Germain decides to do it herself, slams the stick down, and gives her team an 8-4 lead.
The Dean, what I was saying, as a volleyball coach, I have to ref at some of the tournaments. I've missed a bunch of calls because you're into the game, but you also have to be watching for the technical issues.
On your team, right? You don't call anything that goes on your team.
Yeah, I can't say that for real. You have to be unbiased. It's a little hard.
Tell you, one thing I just saw there, and I hope I'm not making a prediction here, but Tars, when they've scored, they're very excited. Everybody's excited when you score. Tars have thrown their stick down. You're required to set your stick down, put your stick down. Tars have thrown their stick down with authority in this game. You get that big bounce. Sometimes officials might not like that. It'd be interesting to see if they say something about that here in the later stages of the game, if that kind of keeps going on, or maybe one of the coaches says something. You would hate to see a call on something like that, but I just thought that was interesting because it seems like every time it's like they're spiking a football or something.
Well, one thing that's kind of, and you mentioned this before the broadcast, Carly, when we were watching both these teams warm up, is the idea that, University of Tampa was far more vocal in their warm-ups. They seemed more energized. They seemed like they had more of a purpose to be out here. And then Clark pulls up here with his swagger and steps inside the booth and says, just wait until game time. Trust me, Rollins will be more vocal when game time comes around.
It's like the Tars had a switch that they turned on, and now they've been the more vocal team. Haven't heard much from Tampa over here on the sidelines.
And, we've seen the sideline celebrations. You're talking about slamming of the stick. It's just been overall –
Tars sidelines done their own roller coasters, couple other things you see at basketball games from the side people on the sidelines.
They repped out a couple benches with their bench presses with their sticks. I mean,
we've seen all kinds of celebrations.
Yeah, and that's what you want from your team. U.S. Lacrosse did the story on the Tars 4 or 5 years ago, and the headline on the story was "The Right to Be Weird." And it was just how unique this program is and how different it is than most programs across the country. It always has been, and hopefully it always will be. Head coach Dennis Short really does an excellent job doing something special here with the Rollins College Tars.
Clark, you said you had to be weird to be a goalie. I guess the whole Rollins team has to be weird to be a Tar, huh?
I guess so. Yeah, why not? Shooting space violation that's going to put the Tars on the 8-meter here.
So we'll see a chance at yet another goal.
But for the fans back home, we definitely mean good, weird in a good way.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the way the article was written as well. It's just the right to be different. And Tars play a different type of game.
It's always the teams that do it differently that are usually more successful. They have something that they're doing differently than other teams. Risk goes high. And so Lily Risk did it on defense early on. We showed that. The way she ran down the field, she took a couple early shots, and that one she ends up finding her first goal of the day.
Okay. I'll admit, it looks pretty darn good when it hits that top corner right there. All right, but it was a great shot, just a great shot there by Lily Risk. You saw Sutter there cheating a little bit to stick side, trying to bait Risk to go off stick, and I think she was expecting that off stick low shot, kind of went under to make that step, and just a really nice job there by Risk finding the back of the net.
Dean, you mentioned champions at Full Sail with Mr. Arthur Joseph. We have a little saying, champions do it different. That's what's separating Rollins tonight.
They are indeed doing it on both ends of the field too. We talked about their scoring numbers. The way in which they lead the conference in shots on goal. They are top 5 in a lot of offensive statistics in the entire nation. So, you talk about doing it differently, but here it's also their defense. I mean, even right there, look at the aggression there from Van Beck to force a ground ball, and now it's picked up, and the next attacking possession for Rollins is starting again. So Tampa not even getting close to the net on most of their possessions, close to the cage, on most of their possessions, and it's worked out in their favor so far.
And for any sport, Clark, for any sport, the saying is, offense sells tickets, defense wins games.
Absolutely. Callie German did a great job there of getting upfield off the restraining line on that draw to get into the mix there.
McNeil now back checked, and the ball will end up in Ridley's hands. So Ridley now for the Tars is pushing the pace. Gives it ahead to Risk, who just scored a moment ago, but she'll decide to slow the pace down as we just hit the 2-minute mark left in this first half. So Rollins probably going to try and use every second of this clock and wear it down. try and take one last shot and not leave hardly any time left. Some substitutions coming here, and see the pace of play has slowed down just a little bit for the Tars. Now they're playing a little bit, wouldn't want to say conservative, but a little bit more of a slower paced, methodical type game.
Well, if they run their offensive clock down, Tampa only has about 40 seconds to get all the way down the field and try to score. It's not a lot of time.
Not to mention if you score, you waste a lot of time on draw controls usually. So, the idea of setting up a full attacking possession with exactly who you want to be out there and how you want to execute it is not always within reach with that amount of time. So, see what happens. It's Longo who goes behind the net, and that's Ashton now behind the net. 15 seconds. She's going to try and do a wraparound. Sutter is going to save that one, but it will go into the hands of Brock. Shot clock's been turned off, and Sutter will make another good save. And so 45 seconds left on the clock. Tampa will probably use this entire time to get one last possession before half. Pushing the pace down the field.
Yeah, trying to move the ball in the air, work it down the field, but just couldn't quite make that pass cross the body check there, called on Tampa. Tars ball.
So the Tars now with 20 seconds left, pushing the pace. We'll see if they can try and take another shot at goal and increase their lead even more. They lead 9-4. 13 seconds left, ball forced out. Now it's in Tampa's possession. So trading turnovers right now.
So what, everybody is absolutely gassed out there. You see everybody just dragging, looking for this halftime.
Doesn't look like there's going to be a shot that's going to go off before the buzzer, and that is halftime. So Rollins dominant early on. They lead 9-4. They've done it on the offensive end. They've done it on the defensive end. We've seen Gabby Tanner inside the net or inside the cage make a couple of great saves, or a handful of great saves really. And we've seen the offense for the Tars executing perfectly. What are your takeaways from the first half? What does Tampa need to do to come back, and also what do the Tars need to do to keep going?
Tars need to keep playing their game to keep winning this. They are taking their time on the offensive end of the field, running it down about 60 seconds, then attacking. When they're doing that, they're having success.
And what about you, Carly? What are your takeaways from this first half?
Well, I've seen a completely different Tampa team than the one that stepped off the bus. Not vocal, not really a lot of energy coming out of them. For them to get back in this game, they've got to communicate with each other and got to pick their intensity up.
All right, well, that is it for us for this first half. We'll be back in just about 10 minutes to give you coverage of the second half. You guys are watching on the Rollins Sports Network. I'm Dean Wilson alongside Carly Ford and Clark Sprinkle. We'll see you guys after halftime. welcome back from what was an electric first half from the Rollins side, and Tampa is going to have to make some adjustments if they're going to want to catch up. They're down 9-4 coming into hostile territory in Winter Park, Florida. What's going on, guys? I'm Dean Wilson alongside Clark Sprinkle and Carly Ford. You know, we talked about when we left from halftime, some of your guys' takeaways from both the Rollins side and the Tampa side. Let's talk about something that Tampa, what should they continue doing? Because I know it's easy to harp on, you know, they're down. What can they not, what have they done wrong, or what can they do better? But what have they actually done that's consistent they should keep up if they want to try and come back in this one?
You know, they've done a good job of spreading the field on offense. They're keeping the Tars spread out. They just need to keep the field spread, be a little more patient. And you know, they're getting shots with 20, 15 seconds left. Maybe it's just that 5 or 10 second difference in the shot clock. Be a little more patient. Don't force the pass inside, but keep the offense spread for you, Tampa.
I also think draw controls as well. They need to start winning more of those to start more of their possessions. Rollins has been so dominant just winning that battle at midfield. And it's been mostly on the stick of number 19. You see her right now, Maggie Daugherty. And she's just done a great job of really, I mean, all the possessions go through her. It's similar to how you would see a center in football. You know, all the possessions start with him. He may not be the flashiest player. He may not be the player that gets all the goals. He's not the quarterback. He's not the wide receiver, or she's not the wide receiver. But, you know, she's doing a great job of starting each possession and doing her part and doing it very well.
You know, have you ever noticed a center doing something good? Not really. No. But you sure notice when they do something bad.
Exactly.
And it's kind of the same way out of the draw circle. Yeah, you can make some athletic plays or something like that, but it really makes a difference when you make a mistake out there. But Doc's been great all game. 9-5 on draw controls for the Tars.
And haven't had to call her name hardly at all, which I guess, like you just said, is pretty much a good thing. She's done a wonderful job, and I'm sure her attackers kind of hear that loud cheers from both of these sidelines, but her attackers, I'm sure, are very happy about that one.
Both sides. Dean, you asked me what did Tampa need to do. They might have heard me at the end of the broadcast. I told them to be more vocal and get their intensity up.
And now we hear them.
We do.
So Tampa will start with a bad pass there, but still scooped up, and they still have possession. See if they can turn around what was that first half. You know, you mentioned, Carly, the fact that in the first time these two teams met, Tampa only scored 3 in the first half, but they scored 13 in the second to end that game at 21-16. Oh, you know, they end up losing the game, but still 13 points and a half. Don't count this team out just yet, especially when they're down. If it's a game of halves, you definitely want to come out on top in the second. So we'll see if Rollins
definitely
keeps their foot on the pedal.
Seems like the last time they just found their rhythm.
And that low shot there goes in for the Spartans, so they will kind of change the tempo and get the first goal of this half and go and increase their point total to 5, and now they're only down by 4. So 9-5, Tars still lead.
Finding their rhythm early. Now they just have to transcend that rhythm throughout the rest of the game.
Yeah, that was number 8, Delaney McKelvey, with the goal there.
Yeah, textbook draw and dump right there. You know, drawing your defender off your teammate there, dumping it off to him, and a nice, fairly straightforward goal there for the Spartans.
And it seems like Delaney, who just scored that goal, is holding her left forearm. We'll see if she stays in. May have gotten unintentionally hit. But otherwise, we'll see another draw control coming for these teams right now. And that one's won by Daugherty, and she gets it herself. So great job there. Then clears it to Van Beck, and moves the ball down the field. So again, great job there on the draw control, and Tars have possession. Substitutions coming. Great use of the box, as both these teams have done. Pretty big rosters, as we said in the first half, so they are not afraid to make all the substitutions they need to get the best offensive and defensive sets out onto the field. And this is Gastonguay working along this left side. 53 seconds left on the shot clock. Ball movement was key in the first half for the Tars. They did a great job of moving around to set up each possession. Inside dump to Ashton. That one she's not able to handle, and so University of Tampa will pick up the loose ball and start their next push.
Yeah, missed opportunity there by the Tars to a missed opportunity by the Spartans right there.
And the ball goes back to the Tars. Not such an easy clear there. Nice little move. And that's number 32, Brooke Ottaway, trying to get this ball across the midline. Downfield pass. Great job there. Pushing along that right side. Well, she pushes inside to Jermaine. Jermaine's going to shoot, and Jermaine's going to score. Great job running right, shooting back left, and Jermaine, I believe that's a hat trick for her.
Yeah, it just
on the night.
Really nice move there. That does tally it up there. 3 goals for her on the evening. Just a great cut, too. That starts with her footwork right there, making that great move.
Jermaine has done her best to not only make the goals but also assist on them tonight, and that time it's a bit of a long ball, too. She was pretty far out. She wasn't super close to the net as most of the goals have come here for Rollins, so a great accurate shot. Running right, not the easiest thing to do. I know she's a righty, but still able to shoot across your body back left and do it accurately with a goalie trying to stop you at every turn.
She got that twist in there.
So she's definitely maintaining her spot as the star of this women's lacrosse team for Rollins. Again, another win from Darty. And so a great job from her. She'll get off, and the rest of the offense will get on as Van Beck pushes the pace up the field. Van Beck, nice little move. But she will decide to back out and instead slow the pace down. Well, it'll be interesting to see if Rollins uses the full shot clock more in this second half to try and maintain this lead, or if they stay with that aggressive play that got them the lead in the first place.
If you're the Tars, you want to, you got a ton of time left in this game. 5-goal margin here is nothing. So you got to keep being aggressive. It's one of those things where when does a team in football start giving up points? They go into that prevent defense kind of thing, and everybody starts running all over them, and then all of a sudden they're in trouble. But if you attack like that, you keep going after it, keep your foot on the gas, you can stay out in front.
Jermaine again rolling right, almost the same exact spot, and able to score again. So referee checks the stick.
I mean, how many times have we heard her name alone tonight? She's been dominant on both sides of the field.
And she's hardly ever subbed out either. I say that, excuse me, she's going to talk to the coach. But, yeah, she's hardly ever subbed out. And she's also, we talk about the scoring numbers. She's close and holds records here at Rollins. But we also saw it on the defensive end. I mean, we talk about how she doesn't let players cross over the midline or even get, close, as a timeout's called here, by Tampa. She's also done it defensively, like I said. And sometimes, we mentioned this before the broadcast as well, Carly, that sometimes the best offense, or the best defense, will be played by attackers. In men's lacrosse, it's the midline. You can't cross over as an attacker onto that side, and you just got to sit there and wait for your defense to do its job and then get the ball back. But being able to play defensively as an attacker is almost it's a subset of skills that you have to have if you want to be a successful player.
I think her being able to stay on her toes and just keep moving throughout the entire game is why she's so far from the rest and why her abilities are just up there. I mean, she's a senior, so she's obviously got the time in, the work in, the stamina. I mean, I can't say enough good things about her. All around, great player.
Yeah, just a tremendous athlete in her entire career. One of those players that when you first see step on the field here, they're going to make an impact. And it's one of those things where you go, man, if she's this good as a freshman, as a sophomore, imagine what she's going to be like as a senior. And now seeing her as a senior, she is just an absolutely force to be reckoned with.
Exactly, and her height can't go unnoticed either. She's 5'10", one of the tallest players out here on the field right now, which I'm 5'10" too. And sometimes you would think height would slow you down, but it doesn't slow her down. And it gives her those few inches of advantage, longer wingspan, longer reach.
Yeah, you know,
Delicious.
she's reminiscent of another Tar great and Katie Pelaz. She was 6'1", listed at 6'1"
Wow.
on the roster. Just an absolutely dominant player up and down the field all day long. That was her MO. And Palazzi, as she was affectionately known, just did a great job. And and you see a lot of similarities in the way they play. Just great athletes, both of them. And Callie German just having a great year as a senior here.
That's intimidating going up against a 6'1" player.
Yeah, and you talked about, the height being an advantage. Sometimes as well for taller players, and we see this, going back to the basketball, which we talked as much basketball as we did lacrosse in the first half.
Which I love.
But, the bigger players tend not to be able to move well, in quick, like they're not very quick, right? They're big. They might have straight line speed because of the actual length of their
stretch
strides.
their legs out, yes.
But being able to move side to side, being able to move, quickly, switch their hips that quickly. When you're bigger, the bigger you get, the harder it gets. And the fact that she's so tall and she's able to flip her hips that much and play such good defense and offense is just, all in all, just a great player. And she shows that throughout her entire career here. So as Rollins, again, with the ball, feels like the only thing I've been calling the entire night, as they've definitely dominated the time of possession in this game.
Yeah, and it's just disheartening as an opponent there to sit there and know that you're down, know that you need the ball, and you just can't seem to get it back. But then Tars make a critical unforced error right there to give it to U Tampa.
I mentioned it earlier. The Tars lead the conference in turnovers.
It's never a stat you like to attribute to your team, but sometimes it's weird like that. You just turn the ball over a lot, but maybe get a lot of cause turnovers too.
Sometimes it comes off an over-aggressive offense, but that over-aggressiveness allows them to have a score of 11-5 right now.
And so we'll see the Tars in dominant position, as you mentioned, 11-5 the score. They lead here at home. For those of you just joining us on the Rollins Tars Sports Network, the Tars are in white with the blue numbers defending home field, talking too much basketball. And the Tampa Spartans are in black with the red numbers. And so far has been mostly Rollins. Shot there. That one goes wide left, so an empty netter.
Tars backed that one up too.
Wow.
That's really impressive right there. Oh, no, I guess they're going to – no, they said the Tars didn't make that back that one up. Man, that's like an open goal shot, but then they give it up right there.
The Tars got lucky.
Yes, they did.
Because Gabby Tanner was running down the field, trying to defend somewhere herself. Wasn't expecting that ball to turn around so quick.
She was in no woman's land, and it was the point where she didn't know whether to be aggressive for the ball on the ground or go back to the goal. And it ended up almost costing her team, but an errant throw there from Swanson.
And I can guarantee you Mike Tobin's gonna talk to her about that after the game. You can do one thing. You can't kind of do one thing. You can either attack after the ball or you can get back to the cage. There, she wasn't really sure what to do, a little unsure of herself. You want to see her, maybe it's being a sophomore, playing with a little more confidence, getting out there and going either hard to the goal or hard after the ball in that situation.
Either way, Rollins still leads 11-5 in this one. We apologize since there's no scoreboard on the broadcast right now. But with just over 23 minutes left in this game, Rollins has been in a bit of a comfortable lead for most of it. They took an early lead and have not let up for this entire game, as we see them on defense right now. 60 seconds or so left for Tampa to try and put another score on the board. Working that ball around. Tampa very good at assisting. They tend to move the ball a lot, especially on scoring attacks. Working around that left side. Inside spin move goes low, and so that one works out. The inside spin and going low on Gabby Tanner, so that gives Tampa their 6th goal of the night.
Yeah, just a nice little roll dodge underneath, choosing instead of kind of going up over the top. You get your defender a little bit overcommitted. You can roll back underneath, and just super hard to stop that shot right there. You know, we saw Gabby Tanner kind of get off to a slow start in this one. I you know, hope that she's able to find that kind of second quarter, we'll call it, efforts there that she had there in that first half of action.
Yeah, as a coach, you don't want your goalie to face a lot of shots, right? Because the more shots she faces, the more she could potentially let up. However, you might want her to face some shots because it'll keep her warm. And so sitting in the cage and not having a lot of shots, your offense has dominated the time of possession, so you don't even see the ball in your field a lot of the time. It can get you cold, and then you're gonna have to try and warm yourself back up in order to start saving those shots that you normally would.
Well, Dean, something I've noticed is when the ball's not on her side of the field, she's still staying active and getting in motion. She's running up the field a little more, coming back, keeping herself on her toes so that she doesn't get stuck.
Yeah, it's real easy to do that, too. It is so easy to sit down there, and all of a sudden that somebody's coming at you, and you're going, oh, no. This hasn't happened in 10 minutes. You know, what do I do now?
Draw control does go in favor of the Tars once again. I feel like that's the only thing I've been calling all night. And see what the call is there.
Offsides there on University of Tampa.
So offsides on the Spartans. And full shot clock reset. Rollins gets all of their offensive players on the field.
Actually, too many women on the field, I think, was the call. They counted it up, and it wasn't offsides. I thought it was offsides because they counted too many down there. They looked back here, and they just have one extra player out there.
We'll see how Rollins responds to that goal that they just let up. They seem to do a good job of trading out those goals. Whenever they give one up, they'll tend to get one as well. Nice catch and throw from Ashton. That was a low pass there from German. Ashton had to pick that up from almost the ground, bring it up high again, and then shoot it. So a great job there.
Yeah, when I saw that pass, I thought, oh, come on, Callie, what are you doing? Don't put it out down at her feet. And then Hash just makes this acrobatic play there, taking it off her shoelaces and then finding the back of the net right there. Really impressive play. German with not the pass she wanted to make, certainly, but, your teammates save you every now and then. Great job there, Hash.
So Rollins once again trading out those goals, and their lead is back up to 12-6. The Tars lead, and as they have done for this entire game so far, and the game plan seems to be working out pretty well, and they haven't lost any of the momentum that they had in that first half either.
No, Dean, we have a front view here of the Rollins sideline, and they're dancing along to the music. Really, one of the players did a line kick. Really interacting with each other well.
Nice job there by Doughty. She wins another draw control and forces a foul from Tampa.
Yeah, 14-6 now on draw controls in favor of the Tars, just making a huge difference in this game.
Brock working on that left side. She's going to pass it inside to German. German faces some hard defense, and that ball.
Really surprised we didn't see a foul there.
And we'll see now number 26, Paige Johnson, working along that right side. Good defense there. I don't know.
I thought that was a great check.
I didn't see a penalty there, honestly. That was Ridley with a great back check, but unfortunately she does get called for it, and so Tampa now has a clean possession.
Oh man, I thought that was just a beautifully timed, wonderful check there from Field Ridley.
So we'll see if Tampa can come up with an answer of their own. But at this point, when you're playing catch-up, you don't want to be trading goals because in the end, you'll still be down by the same amount when that final buzzer sounds. So inside move. Nice little check there. Forces the ball on the ground, and it's scooped up. That's number 20, Hannah Coakley, and Coakley's going to run down to midfield.
And look at this. Tampa's not even challenging. You see players pulling up there at midfield, Tampa's almost gassed out there midway through, not even midway through this second half of action.
So, great job there by Coakley, who got that loose ball after it was forced out, pushes the pace up the field. I thought she was definitely going to try and go for a goal. No one was challenging her at all until she started getting close to the cage. Ashton now with the ball on the left side, and she gives it up to Caitlin Young, who gives it up to Coakley, as we just mentioned earlier. Ball movement again. Still a huge aspect of the Tars game. They seem to be just taking what the defense gives them, whether they're playing zone or man. They seem to, nice little move there. That's Ashton inside, and she's going to get yet another goal. So Ashton, who had that nice goal the last time Rollins had the ball, that one was a little bit easier to make, and she takes advantage.
Tell you what, she did a great job there. Started with a stick in her right hand, went lefty, got her defender crossed up, came back righty, a little bit better angle for her, and found the back of the net.
That almost looked like a Euro step. And to mention basketball, we have a sad night upon us as it is Dwayne Wade's final game. And I'm a big Dwayne Wade fan. Him and LeBron together was the magical years for me. So I'm sad to see his era come to an end.
Absolutely a dominant player.
Phenomenal. Probably my second favorite player. Used to be number one, but I'm sorry. LeBron is just the man.
Well, fortunately for both him and LeBron, they will be sitting out after the season is over.
It's okay. This is LeBron's first summer off, if you will, since he was 21. So
I don't know if he planned it like that. I think he had a vacation plan, and he didn't want to go. He didn't want to have to worry about going into.
He's like, sorry,
playoffs.
Lakers. I got other stuff I got to do. Family time.
I'm going on a cruise. So Jermaine gets it inside. Ashton's going to score again, and that one just looked way too easy.
Yeah, right place, right time there for Ashton.
It's a great cut. Great inside cut from her. And she just posts up right in front of the net and just turns around and shoots it real easy. It's hard to miss when you're a foot away from the goal. So everything going the Tars' way in this second half, maybe even more so than it was in the first half, because at one point in the first half, it was 5-4 Tars. And the Tars have since gone on a 9-2 run since that moment in the first half. So it didn't slow down even with a 10-minute halftime break.
No, and a couple quick goals back-to-back for the Tars. 2 by Hannah Ashton.
And I believe she has a hat trick now as well.
I'll do you one better. She's got 4. How about that?
Oh, well, I missed her hat trick the last one, so sorry about that.
36th goal of the season for her. Real quick, over in Tampa right now, Rollins is taking on Tampa in the men's game at the half, 8-4 in favor of University of Tampa.
So a little bit of a reversal of roles from these two teams. The women dominating on their home field, and the men are struggling away, but we'll see.
Both home teams doing work on their home fields.
And that home field advantage is a real thing. That stick actually did hit her head. No call there from the ref.
It looked awfully close to me. I guess it didn't get her.
She did a little goggle adjustment on her, and that was about it. Maybe not a clean. You said any hit to the head. I definitely thought that would have been called, but refs let it play.
I don't think it got her. I think it was close, and it kind of scared her, and she dropped her head down there, but it was awfully close. Big swing, too.
Yeah, those big swings can be very risky. Players tend to play within their stick range, and they don't tend to take big swings like that because they maintain more control, but they also don't have to worry about that hit actually landing and it causing an injury.
And you can actually get called for a penalty even if that big swing doesn't connect. You can get called for a slash if the swing is a real big motion. You can get called for a penalty even if you hit nothing on your opponent.
Ashton with the ball now. She had the last 2 goals for the Tars. Gives it up to Stumpf, who works that right side. Hard defense here. Tampa's going to have to make some adjustments if they want to come back in this one. I know in lacrosse, high scoring is the name of the game, but at 14-6 with about 17 minutes left, that clock is starting to become their enemy.
Yeah, now you see it looks like Tampa will step out and play some Dion German. They're going to have to step out because Tars are just going to keep running this thing down as long as they can. They're going to have to start out stepping out, playing higher D.
And at a minute and a half apiece, and with the draw controls that they keep on winning, I mean, they're just taking chunks off the clock every time they have possession of it. Inside move here, gives it up to German. German's going to make her way inside. Push from the back, goes low. And that goal will count. So German gets her 4th of the night and increases her team's lead 15-6.
That's a rule change, too, from a couple years ago. A couple years ago, they would have wiped that goal off the board and said you're going to have to take an 8-meter shot, even though it was one of those bang-bang calls. Now it's kind of like an and-one call. There's no really and-one, but if you take the shot while you're getting fouled, it counts. The shot counts. So I love that change that they've made in the game right there.
It's too much basketball going on tonight.
Well, I was just about to apologize for bringing basketball up again, but you guys keep leading me into it. Another legend is coming to an end, Dirk Nowitzki.
Man.
I mean, yeah, he had his final game, or is having his final game now in San Antonio. 2 legends I grew up watching. We'll see no more.
I'm sure their careers had to come to an end at some point. I'm sure that they're happy with the way that their careers have gone. Both of them are champions. Both of them pretty much can say that they did everything that they wanted to do, everything they could have done, and left it all on the floor every time they went out. So
the only thing I wish I would have seen more from Dwayne Wade was him and LeBron together. Like I said, those are the magical years for me.
German with the ball now. She's done her best, putting 4 into the net and assisting on a few others. Ashton also has 4 as well. She has the ball now on her stick.
Now, Clark, if you are a Tampa defender, wouldn't you just want to stay on her the whole time?
Yeah, you got to start stepping up, though. What you have to start doing in a situation like this is locking off your adjacents. And yeah, you got to lock off German. She's been dominant. 5 goals on the evening for her. Gets popped in the head there, no call. And there's the slow whistle there. You see the officials signal that slow whistle. She takes it out of the 8-meter. She'll get an 8-meter shot there. It's so tough to lock off a player, especially the caliber of German. And I got to say, I think if Tampa had somebody that they could do it with, they would have done it by now.
And if this goal goes in for the 8-meter, it'll put the score 10 up for Rollins. That one doesn't go. Brock cleans it up. That's Gastonguay who's going to give it behind the net. The wraparound comes. That one's saved by Sutter. So a great job there from Sutter. But if that goal went in and we got a 10-point lead for the Tars, then it would be a mercy rule and the clock would not stop no matter what. So, see, great defense there. And a great save from Gabby Tanner.
I tell you what, Haley Brock is lucky she didn't get called for a penalty there on that big swing over top of her head.
Now, Dean, if you look at the stats between this game, between the 2 goalkeepers, it would look like Sutter's had the better game with 9 saves compared to Tanner's 4, but the ball hasn't really came to Tanner that much in this game. It's been predominantly down Tampa's defensive side.
Yeah, what do you Clark, what do you think the main cause for that is? I know she hasn't, obviously when looking at the game, she hasn't faced a lot of shots, but what's the reason for that?
Well, quite frankly, it's your 4 defenders out there in front of you. Every time the ball's gotten down there in front of the Tars have done an excellent job of playing defense with their feet and taking the ball away from Tampa. Caused turnovers on this one. You've got 12 for the Tars in this game. 12 caused turnovers is great. Anytime you get that set into double digits, that's huge.
And mentioned it earlier, they have done it on both ends of the field. Holding a team like Tampa to just 6 points is something that you should definitely be proud of as a defense. So the credit does go to Tanner, but it also goes to, like you just said, those 4 defensemen in front of her. So Ashton playing hard defense along that right sideline. And so we'll see Tampa try and get one on the goal. But a nice intercepted pass there from Ridley Fields. Fields will push the pace up that left side. And they have a man advantage downfield, but with the score the way it is, I'm sure they're going to slow this pace down and try and use up that entire 90 seconds.
Yeah, you saw Tampa there. They just they were in that tough transition. Tars were just on them, and sometimes you just get frustrated. You just kind of want to go, get off me kind of thing. And they just kind of made this kind of a little bit too easy of a pass. They try to steer it down the field instead of just letting it rip. Field Ridley saw that, knew that pass didn't have anything on it. She jumped it. It was like a pick six going the other direction right there.
I was going to say tonight's game has been a mixture of lacrosse, football, and basketball. All kinds of different activities going on in tonight's game.
Stanley Cup playoffs starting off tonight. Maybe we should drop some hockey in there too.
Well, I mean, say things like net and stick. I guess we got some hockey references in there, I guess.
All right.
Now, I don't have as much hockey knowledge for y'all as I've had with basketball tonight.
And 25 seconds left. German will try and work inside. Intercepted there, so.
Yeah, that's not the pass to make there for German. She just kind of threw that one up and easily picked off there by Tampa.
And great defense there from Olivia Blakeman. She tries to get the back check, but it doesn't work out, and Tampa will try and score. And they need to start thinking about that time and scoring quickly. That one bangs off the pipe. And a great save there by Tanner, using literally every inch of that, the pipe and the crossbar. 80 seconds left or so for UT Tampa, but that shot clock and game clock is starting to become their enemy. Low shot there, it goes wide. 70 seconds left. And we see a couple substitutions coming here for the Tars. Tampa still with the ball and 60 seconds left to do something with it. We'll see if they can capitalize, but down by 9. That window is starting to get more and more closed, and it's starting to look smaller.
Yeah, if you're Tampa, you got to go. You got to go. You got to start going now. I mean, listen, 9 goals is doable. That's doable, but you got to go.
High to low there. That's number 12, Claire Swanson, and she gives Tampa their 7th goal of the day. And she's going to have to give her team a couple more of those if she wants to get them back into this one. Yeah, 9 goals is doable, but with the way Rollins has been winning draw controls, you have no guarantee of possession at all. And so just, 3 or 4 more draw control wins for the Tars, holding that ball for, 60 or more seconds. They're wasting 5 or 6 more minutes with the way that this game has been going so far.
Now, Clark, I have a question for you.
All right.
When the defenders are using their sticks, you said anytime they hit their opponent's head, it's automatic penalty.
Yes.
They play so close, getting the sticks right up on them. Wouldn't you be a little more cautious about that?
No, you want to get up in somebody's face. You want to, you want to hound them. You want to be on top of them. You want to always have your sticks up in the passing lane. Hopefully being able to knock down a pass if something comes through. You want to be in a good defensive position. But a good defender, a good athlete, somebody who's well coached, who trains hard, and plays well, knows just how far they can push it.
That's what coaches always want you to do too, right? They want you to get right up to the line, maybe nudge it a little bit, cross it every once in a while, hardly ever, but they want you to play. Ooh,
Tampa jump there. That's going to be Tar's ball.
That's a mistake you do not want to make at this point in the game. That's, again, we're talking about time as their biggest enemy. To score, yes, obviously they're down, but time right now is their biggest enemy, and if the Rollins use this full 90 seconds, I mean, you're getting under 10 minutes left in the game by the time Tampa would get the ball back, and that's only if the Tars don't score, and, you have to win draw control if they do. So,
and Rollins will have control of the ball for almost 2 minutes if they use that whole 90 seconds.
So we'll see what the Tars can do with it. Ashton, who has 4 goals herself on the night, has the ball now. That slow pace has worked to the Tars' advantage in this second half. although they have been aggressive. Nice little back check there, and so good defense to clean that one up. And now we'll see Tars in their transition.
Yeah, you see the Tars, too, running them down as well.
This is Swanson who goes low. She scored a few moments ago, but that one goes wide. And it will still be Spartans' ball.
You know, that's tough on Swanson right there. You know, she went coast to coast, you know, at 100% full tilt boogie there. And then, you know, trying to take a shot at the end of it, it's just tough. It's just tough in that situation. But they were all covered up. No real break opportunity there for the Spartans.
Kind of a quiet night from Swanson. I mean, just a week ago, she was the offensive player of the SSC weekly. And that's the second time she's won that award. But tonight, we haven't been mentioning her name too often.
She was also National Offensive Player of the Year last week as well. And she's a great overall player. And it's something that I think the Tars have made a point to doing as they now get possession of the ball, of the ball there. But it's something that the Tars have made a point to do defensively. And that is make sure that they take her away from the offense. You know, Belichick, we bring it back to football, he'll always take your main guy away from you. He wants you to beat him with someone else. He'll take your best receiver, he'll take your running back. He'll do whatever he can to take your best player. And that's what the Tars have done tonight. But, you know, Tampa's let players like German run wild, and it's led to them being in this hole.
Well, they pretty much conceded that ground ball right there. There was a ball down, just pretty much thrown down to their defensive end, and they pretty much just conceded the ground ball. They saw that Callie German was about half a step in front of them, and they just said, you know what, she's fast. She's been doing everything great tonight. We'll just give it to her and concede it because we're tired. She actually struggled with the ground ball a little bit there. If Tampa would have been on them, they could have fought for that ground ball, but not being there in position here late in this one is going to be really tough for Tampa to come back.
Risk is going to just go straight ahead, and she's going to be able to get that one to go. So increasing the Tars' lead here as we just passed the 9-minute mark left in this one. You guys are listening on the Rollins Tars Sports Network. The score is 16-7, home field advantage for the Tars, working very much in their favor. They are in the white jerseys with blue numbers. Tampa, the visiting team, is in the black with red numbers, and they find themselves in a deep hole with just under 9 minutes left to play. So Rollins very much in control, and we'll see if that continues for the rest of this one.
Yeah, you know, I tell you what, great game going on here for the Tars. Maybe not the performance that Tampa wants to have. I think head coach Kelly Gallagher took that time out there, wants to set something out, kind of set the stage. Maybe not just for this game here, but set the game for the rest of the season and for the Sunshine State Conference tournament coming up here at the end of the season. There's a very good chance we're going to see these teams meet again in the tournament once this season concludes.
Now, Clark, with Tampa being down 9 points now, and with under 9 minutes left to go in the game, do they have a chance to make a comeback?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely they can. Not the way they've been playing tonight, though.
So what do they need to do?
They've got to play with fire. They've got to see that ground ball out there, and they've got to not only fight for it, they've got to beat Callie German to it, and they got to beat her not just on foot speed, but they got to beat her in numbers as well. You had two Tampa players that were reasonably close by, and you know German made the break for it. You got to have everybody just fighting for that ground ball. It's like a junkyard dog or something. You throw a stake back behind the fence, and they just go after it like a crazy junkyard dog. That's what you have to be in this game.
The crazy junkyard dog.
You see the ball on the ground. You don't want it. You don't think you need it. You have to have the ball. You got to win the ground ball battle, and you got to just get in there and fight for it. Just Tars are winning that here. Tampa not really getting after it here in the late moments of this one.
And you would think that would be opposite because the two teams compared to each other, Tampa, when it comes to ground balls, they're getting 24 of them compared to Rollins only getting 16. But tonight we haven't seen that. We've seen Rollins be more dominant with those ground balls.
Yeah, you know, stats don't really tell the whole story here. 21 ground balls for the Tars, 20 for Tampa. That being said, it's just kind of the way the Tars are winning them. They're winning them unchallenged. You know, if they were getting challenged, maybe that would be a different game. Maybe it would be 30-10 in favor of Tampa. This would be a very different game if that was the ground ball total right now.
Something I'm taking away from that conversation is that I know the name of Clark's autobiography now, and it's going to be Junkyard Dog.
There we go.
Clark, if you make that
Scheinman
a book,
and Stuster
I will buy
on,
it.
Yeah, on shelves here in the fall.
New York Times #1 bestseller for sure.
Well, my mom would buy all the copies, I'm sure.
You got to be like Michelle Obama and sell over 1 billion copies.
Hey, why not?
Set high standards for yourself. High standards, high goals for yourself, Clark. We know you can achieve them.
All right, there we go.
And Van Beck now going to move after the draw control win for the Tars. And that has been one of the things that, you talked about their defense and everything that's been going well for the Tars. I honestly think it's your draw control. I like the players that don't get a lot of recognition but that do all the little things right that help their team win. And the most possessions that are given to the team is not from turnovers, it's from the draw control wins. The way that they're starting they're starting it from the jump, and that's really been the big difference in this one, at least to me.
Being a coach, that's something that I've picked up on as well with my team, is the players who are doing the best are doing all the little things right.
Yeah.
Because all the little things will add up to the bigger picture of the game.
Oh, yeah. It's such a thing that you see in coaching, those players who one will show up and one's got this great stick, but they struggle a little bit with their footwork or something like that. And later in the season, their stick is a little bit better, but their footwork still isn't there. And that player who, needed to work on their stick skills a little bit, needed to work on their footwork a little bit, needed to work on their just positioning and lacrosse knowledge. They get it, and they just work on every little bit. They break it down to little moves, little motions. It's getting your hands down low on a ground ball. It's body positioning. It's where your hips are pointed when you're playing defense. It's stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Those are the players who excel.
Like I mentioned, I'm a volleyball coach, and it's the girls. They might not have the best pass or the best hit, but they got their hand there to be able to get the ball up for the next player. They contributed in a small way that over time leads to the team winning.
Having that game knowledge is just so important in this game, too, of having that anticipation of knowing where your defender, whoever you're guarding, knowing where they're going to go. And then once you get really good at it, and you get to be a senior and start to have that really a good experience.
The strong mentality, yeah.
You can start controlling them. You can start, forcing them where to go. So it's really impressive, and Tars are doing a great job of that tonight.
For them, watching this game, it really starts from the top down as well. Callie German, we talked about the little things she does. She's not just a pure scorer. She's not just looking out for her own number, or anytime the ball is in her stick, that's when she really starts going 100%. She's going 100% all the way to the restraining line.
Yeah. And
all the way to the cage. I mean, for her, it doesn't stop when the ball's not in her stick. She's constantly moving. She's you talked about the pick and roll style basketball plays.
Yeah.
She's without the ball, she's moving. On defense, she's moving. She's not letting that ball transition over when it's in Tampa's possession. She's not letting it go over so easily. So I think her as one of the leaders, that's where it starts, and that's probably part of the reason that the rest of the team does it as well.
And earlier, Dean, you mentioned that she doesn't come out of the game often, but when she did, we had a front view of her. She was communicating with her teammates. Even when she wasn't on the field, she was still going hard and giving 100%, letting her team know, what we have to do to keep this lead and keep going to get the W.
German inside pass to Ashton. Ashton's going to score and trade that goal out. Kazbinski on the last one for Tampa gave them their 8th goal, but again, we see another trade from Rollins. So they just not letting Tampa gain any ground. It's been one of the best parts of this game. With a lead is really, there are 2 times when you can see a team's true character. When they're down is what their mentality is when they're down. Are they going to fight? Are they going to keep going? Or are they going to give up? And when a team is up, are they going to be lazy? Are they going to keep their foot off the gas, or let their foot off the gas, play more conservative, do things that don't do the little things? And instead, we've seen the opposite from Rollins. They've done the little things. They've made sure that they played aggressive, but tactically aggressive. And they've also kept their foot on the gas, and they're trading out every single goal that they let up.
I like how you keep saying foot on the gas. That's what I tell my team. Because they're 13. The mentality's not here the same level as college level players. And when we're up, they'll let up a little bit because they start having fun. They're like, we got the lead. We don't have to go as hard. No, your foot has to be on the gas pedal, smashed out until, for lacrosse, till the clock says 0.
Yeah, it's easy to do that. It's easy to let off. You know, it's
you start having fun. You stop doing the little things that gave you the lead in the first place.
I do that in my Madden career, honestly. You know, I start playing cover 3 zone defense. I'm up. I have a big lead. I don't focus on blitzing, and then all of a sudden my opponent starts coming back on me, and I start rage gaming and breaking controllers. But
do you play 13-year-olds online?
Yes, they always beat me. That's why I get upset.
Well, I will say that one of the things I think the Tars are doing tonight here, remember coming into this one, Tars dropped that game to Florida Southern. They were second in the country, dropped down to number 5, and voters looked at this game at everybody and said, you know what, we think these teams are equal. Both teams tied at 5 in the country. You know, coming into this game, this is the Tars' chance to tell the rest of the country right now, hey, you guys made a big mistake when you said they were as good as we are, because we played them earlier in the season and we beat them. And I tell you what, we are going to beat them again tonight, and they are.
And that's the statement that they're definitely making. And, you know, you mentioned they beat them at the beginning of the season. And, again, it's easy. That's another thing as well. When you've already beaten a team, it's hard to beat them twice in the season. It's one of the things we see, especially when you see, like, a season series when you're playing a team 3 times in a row. You know, you think you've already beat them, and you got this team, you got their number, but one team has an off night, one team has a bad game, one team has a really good game, and they're on and they're flowing and everything's good. And it's easy to just get into that mindset of, well, we already beat them once. You know?
Yeah, you might take your foot off the gas a little bit because you think it's going to be an easier game, but like we keep mentioning, foot on the gas whole time.
We'll see an 8-meter coming here for Tampa.
I think we had a foul out there. I think that was, my eyes aren't good, but I think that was a freshman, Piper Tratner out there. I don't know if that's 3-3 or not, but really I think she got called for the foul. But before that, just a great back check by her.
I believe this is the first 8-meter that Gabby Tanner has faced, and she survives it. Less than 5 minutes left in the game right now. Rollins leads 17-8. 35 seconds left on the shot clock for the Spartans. She goes over the top, and that one does go in, so a great job there. And that is number 38, Kristen Staley, with the goal.
And a yellow card coming out there. Don't know what that was about. I think that might have been after the goal.
And it was number 29, Caitlin Prince, who gets called for that one for Rollins, so she will sit out.
You know, I got a problem with that right there. I heard what the officials said. The penalty was for foul language. You know, this is a game between highly tuned athletes out there. Guess what? Foul language is a part of sports. Calling a yellow card in a situation like that is just absurd, in my mind. You know,
maybe a warning, something first, preemptively.
No, I don't think you address it at all, because this is a college. These are college athletes out here. Listen, if I said some of the things that my high school coach used to say to me, we'd all be thrown off the air. This is a part of sports. This is not a bunch of teenagers out here. These are NCAA athletes. Giving them a hard time for, you know, using some bad language because they get scored on, that's tough. That's tough. I do not like that call.
Right. It's not like we're in a high school stadium where the parents are literally up on them and close and can hear, and you got maybe some younger players on the team. Everyone here is 18 plus. I'm pretty sure they heard worse just walking down the street.
Yeah, everybody here is an adult. And
that's
the
what we all
are
are
too.
here as adults.
Yeah. Just you know, I really dislike that call. I really dislike that call. And honestly, I think it's sexist too, quite frankly. You would never, ever in a million years see an official call an unsportsmanlike conduct on a men in the men's game for dropping an F-bomb. You just wouldn't. And I don't know what that's what she said or what, but
Now, do you
Just
think,
don't like it.
Do you think
Don't
the
like
ref
it.
was maybe, kind of feeling for Tampa a little bit because of the score right now and how much time is left? So they heard something and had an opportunity to call something on Rollins. Do you think that might have been the case?
Maybe it was, and then that makes it even worse. Quite frankly, if they feel bad for Tampa needs to show up and play better. These are two of the best teams. These are 2 5th-ranked teams in the country.
As an official, you do have to stay unbiased and call the game as fair as you can. But sometimes, I said, I went for my team a couple times. It's just so bad. I didn't really. But you feel for the other teams at points, especially if you see them having a little bit of a rough game. You won't call as hard on them. So
yeah, but and we see it in other sports as well. You tend not to call the little things when it gets to a game like this. Like, I don't want to say it's a blowout. It's not mercy rule, but an 8-9 point lead, with under 5 minutes left to go. I'm not saying it could still be possible. It's still possible to come back. But you don't have to call all the little things at this point in the game. The big picture of the game is, the score and what's going on and the tempo, keeping the tempo and flow. Part of the reason that basketball at the end of close games is so brutal to watch because they have those fouls that get called all the time. And, in football, a lot of times those things get let up, especially when it's a blowout, because that losing team, they don't want to stay on the field any more than they want to, especially if the lead is unsurmountable, like they can't come back. And at this point, I'm not saying it's insurmountable for Tampa, but a little call like that, it just seems unnecessary. You call the big ones, you let the flow of the game keep going. You don't let anything egregious go by, obviously, but I wouldn't call anything like that egregious. And I agree. I think it was too much. But you move on. You're a woman down. For a minute or two here, and
I agree with you, Dean. I like when the refs kind of let the flow of the game keep going. Like another night in the UVA Auburn game, there was a couple calls that fans were saying officials should have called on UVA, but at this point in the game, you just gotta let them play.
Yeah, Clark, you and I called the men's game last Wednesday when they played against St. Leo, and the refs for the most part let them play. And that game came down to the wire. It was one of the most exciting games. The most exciting game I've called since calling any of the Rollins sports. And, overall, it was one of the most exciting games. And part of the reason was they were letting them be a little bit more physical. They were letting them play. They were letting them, just let the flow of the game happen and then call things that are egregious. And that's the whole idea I think a ref should be. They should be a mediator. They shouldn't be an enforcer.
Absolutely. And, it's something that refs can make a big difference in this game right here in the game of women's lacrosse. They can make a huge difference. Refs have the power to put somebody 8 steps away, 8 meters away, and say, go ahead and shoot it on the goalie. No defenders in between you and them. Go ahead and shoot. Free position. They can absolutely change the tone of the game. And, the best games are ones where the way the ref did a good job is when you don't notice them. And we did it in that St. Leo game. That was a fantastic game. And, it's just –
I think in that game we had one call, and it wasn't even at the end. It wasn't at any crucial point. I think it was like right as we came back from the second half, right into when we come back for the second half. And we had one call where we both looked at each other and were like, that's kind of out of the tone of how the game has been played so far. And then we moved on. It happened. Like, it didn't even lead to a man down or man up situation for them. But, overall, like, the referees in that game were very good. They let the game play out. Let the players win the game. The refs really should not have a hand in the game.
Yeah.
And especially in a game like this where, it's not close, but it's definitely not over. And that call could have been crucial, but we will see Caitlin Prince check back in. Actually, she just checked back out. But so no man down situation left for Rollins after that score.
Yeah, penalty released here and 3:20 left. 7-goal lead. That's doable. You got to win some draws.
You have to score quickly, win draws, and basically ensure your team has possession. Once Rollins takes the ball and they get a clean offensive chance at it, they're going to be taking basically a 90 seconds off the clock. Shot inside. That one almost ricocheted in to her own goal, but Tanner cleans that one up nicely, and we'll see if she can get a safe clear out.
Tell you what, those are tough. Those ones that, sometimes it's harder to save the one that's coming at you at about 2 miles an hour than the one that's coming at you at about 85 miles an hour, just because it's like looking at a knuckleball come at you or something.
You almost overreact. You think because you're seeing it so slow, your reactions are so quick from catching all those fastballs, and you overreact, and the ball just happens to be on the wrong side of the stick. So 60 seconds left in the shot clock. I'm sure Rollins is going to use the entirety of it with just over 2 minutes, 20 seconds left in this one. Rollins leads 17-10. German has the ball now. She's going to try and score. The ref is going to call a yellow, and it looks like
German got taken down hard there.
She ran into two players. Two players collided with her, and she is still down.
Cross check there was the call.
See a cross check. Does that result in a 8-meter?
It will. They'll be able to use a sub too if German's going to have to come out there.
So we'll see if that's the case. You definitely hope that it isn't anything too serious, as now German's going to start walking off under her own power. She's going to be.
It's always good to see him get back up, especially after a hit like that. And not many games left in the season. They definitely need her for the remainder, and then into conference play, and then after that, this is a nationally ranked team, maybe national play.
Absolutely. You got to take all that into account. Nice show of sportsmanship there from University of Tampa, bringing her stick over to her.
So we will see the 8-meter coming, and taking it for German is going to be Nikki Stumpf. See if Rollins tries to reset the possession. 90 seconds left. They'll 90 seconds basically. They'll be able to pretty much drain the clock down almost to its entirety.
Heads up thing to do here would be to pull this one out, slow it down. That's the heads up thing to do. I'm not saying that's what they're gonna do, but it is.
Yeah. So smart play there. Ball goes back out to Lily Risk, who has had an overall good game.
And who Clark mentioned, we can spot her probably the easiest out of everybody because that bright pink headband.
I tell you what, though, it got me tripped up. Carolyn Gastonguay also wearing a pink headband here this evening.
A lighter pink, though.
Okay, see, I'm not used to deciphering the shades of pink. Although my wife, she said, put the pink bow on our daughter the other day, and I said okay, but I came out with a completely wrong bow. It was bubblegum, not pink, I was told, and I was a fool.
Not the magenta pink she wanted.
No. The words, "This isn't pink, this is bubblegum," were said to me, and I thought, what in the world does that mean?
What's the difference? Slight difference.
Great play there. Caitlin Prince getting in there, good in the ground ball, stepping over the restraining line, working as a team there with Eden Cook.
Rollins using all of the time they have available.
Bubblegum pink reminds me of the color of Pepto-Bismol. That's just a color you don't want to have.
That's a different pink, though. Pepto-Bismol pink is a different pink, according to the crayon box I have at home.
Like I said, it's not a pink that you like because you just associate that with your stomach hurt and you need medicine.
Ashton will push in, trying to get it to Brock, and she will get that one to go. 43 seconds left on the clock here. 18-10, Rollins takes the lead.
Yeah, I tell you what, these are two big rivals here. Close game, first game of the season. I think the Tars were a little worked up coming into this one, going, you know what? You've got this team they say they're 2-0 in the Sunshine State Conference. They're really 2-1. We beat them earlier in the season. They say they're as good as us. They say they're the 5th-ranked team in the country. They say we're the 5th-ranked team in the country. The Tars say, no, they're not. We're better, and they are showing up tonight. I tell you what, though, real quick, men's game, 11-9, Rollins over Tampa, 9:23 left in this one. You want to talk about a bitter rivalry. Rollins men never beaten University of Tampa. Never once have they beaten the University of Tampa. 11-9 right now, 9:23 left in the fourth quarter.
So both these teams, the men and women's Tars, with a little bit of a fire in their belly, chip on their shoulder, home and away. Doesn't matter. We're going to go in. We're going to take care of you, Tampa, and it doesn't matter if we have the advantage at home or not. And I'm sure there's when we called that St. Leo game. St. Leo, I believe, was 13-3 against Rollins all time, and obviously with those odds, you'd think, oh well, St. Leo seems to have their number, but came in, didn't let them win on their home field, and that's just the way it goes sometimes. And sometimes it's that chip on the shoulder that's exactly what you need.
So is this duo right here of Dean and Clark the lucky charm for Rollins this year?
Maybe it is. Maybe we need to make a beeline for Tampa here so we can hopefully watch the men beat Tampa. Just you want to talk about some bitter games and a bitter rivalry. This is a good rivalry here. Florida Southern and Rollins, great rivalry in the women's game. Tampa and Rollins, there's no love lost there. That is a bitter rivalry. That is a bitter rivalry in the game of lacrosse. They just flat don't like each other.
Yeah, you talked about how St. Leo and Rollins are the oldest, but that doesn't mean that it's the best, or that's the to use your word, the most bitter. It could be between two teams that, even though it could be one side in the overall record, doesn't matter. You can still dislike that team no matter what. You see it in the NFL. You see it in college. Those rivalries, even if one team's doing really well, one team's doing poorly, it still doesn't matter. And I think we are the lucky charm, you and me, Clark, because I don't think we've called a losing Rollins lacrosse game for men or women in our time here.
Well, they haven't lost that many games here this year. Women are doing great. Men are doing great. Dropped a couple on the road, but have a game here this Saturday. Looking forward for that one.
And in front of the net, 15 seconds.
Dean, something to mention about this game would be a little bit about Sutter's performance. For tonight, she came in averaging 517 saves per game, but against the Tars tonight, she was limited to a 379.
Yeah, really just kind of struggling there in the cage, but quite frankly, she was getting a lot of shots right on top of her. You can't necessarily put it all on Sutter. She maybe didn't have her strongest game, but defense really kind of struggling a little bit for University of Tampa. Caused turnovers, margin of 5 there in favor of the Tars. 15 for them, only 10 for Tampa in this one.
Well, that's how it ends. We expected a little bit of a better game, I guess you could say, between two teams tied at 5th. They both had the same number of points coming into this game. They both were top 5 in a lot of conference statistics. And overall, it looked like a very good matchup. But Rollins, like you said before, junkyard dog mentality, playing with a chip on their shoulder, fire in their belly. And they take this one 18-10 at home field. Thank you guys so much for watching and joining us on the Rollins Tar Sports Network. I'm Dean Wilson. In with me for the last time is Carly Ford and Clark Sprinkle. Thank you guys so much for watching.